What do you do when you become your own enemy? What do you do when you're faced with life storms? My guest today has a wonderful story, has a wonderful testimony that will not only inspire you, encourage you, but will actually challenge you. Ruth Ann Rigby. She is the Chief Development Officer for Capstone Wellness, as well as co-founder of First Responders of Mississippi. Boy, she's going to be a blessing to you. If you feel down, if you feel out, if you feel victimized, you're going to be blessed with this program. You stay tuned. We'll be right back with my guest.
I'm Josh Trim with Pennington and Trim Alarm Services. We firmly believe in offering the latest and greatest in camera and access control technology. With the Alarm.com platform, we're able to offer a user-friendly and fully integrated service to do just that.
We're a light that shines your way. Let us in and you will find security and peace of mind. Go on and keep on out.
Welcome to Defining Moments with Larry Nix, where our focus is touching the lives of people with the spirit of hope for life. Hey, thank you for joining me today. We have a lot of ground to cover. We have a lot to talk about. I'm excited to have my friend, my dear friend. She is an advocate for human beings. That is the best way that I can think of to describe who she is. She is an advocate for the quality of life for human beings, no matter who you are, where you are. And I have tracked her. I have followed her. I have been with her for a while, and I have seen, my goodness, I wonder how she's able to get rest, because there's no end that she will go to help anybody embrace who they are, to overcome some obstacles and some demons that they're facing, and embrace the quality of life that God ordained for them to live. I won't read her full bio, because if I did, we'd be here for the entire session. And I want her to engage you, and I really want you to listen. I really want you to call your friends, your family members, particularly if you know of someone that is struggling with an addiction. And then also, if they are a first responder, your family member, first responder, my guest today has some wonderful, exciting news to share, particularly with several upcoming events. So allow me, if you will, then just be patient with me as I read a little of her body of work. Ruth Ann Rigby, CRAS, currently serves as the Chief Development Officer of Capstone Wellness in Searcy, Arkansas. She has been a leader in the behavioral health and addiction recovery field for over 25 years, with 26 years in recovery. Ruth Ann represents the various principles she strives for daily: confidence, integrity, humility, and grace. Rigby is a prominent figure in addiction recovery and mental health industry, working with some of the leading treatment providers in the nation. Most recently, she was recognized by the National Association of Treatment Providers with the Dr. Jasper Chan C. Volunteer Award in 2022 at their national conference. High Watchka Recovery Center, and presented Rigby and with the Merry Man Award in the fall of 2021. She was recognized by the resolution from the former Mississippi Governor Phil Bryant in 2020 for her dedication to fighting for those caught in addiction in local communities as well. Rigby has served on boards of numerous community organizations, church leadership committees, and behavioral health associations such as the Mississippi Association of Drug Court Professionals, Central Mississippi chapter of the National Council of Alcoholism and Drug Dependency, Mississippi Association of Addiction Professionals, American Diabetes Association, National Alliances of Mental Health Illnesses, Mississippi chapter, and the National Association of Addiction Treatment Providers. Rigby and her husband, Joseph, along with their 3 Cocker Spaniels, reside in Madison, Mississippi on their farm. I could read on and on and on, and this is just a cliff note of her body of work. Two things that she's passionate about in life. If you meet her, it is as though you have been friends with her for 30 years and you meet her for 5 minutes. And if you're in a room of 1,000 people and you come up to her and she engage you in a conversation, she will make you feel in that room of 1,000 people that you're the only person in that room. And then whatever you're struggling with, she's not judgmental, but she is a hero to human beings, and she is an advocate for human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome my friend, Ruth Ann Rigby, on Defining Moments. Ruth Ann, welcome to Defining Moments, the podcast.
I love being in your new house.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I kind of shared it with you several months ago, but I could not wait to get you here. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who follow us weekly, you know that we have a radio program that airs every Tuesday and Thursday from 11 to 12. And then our podcast airs every Wednesday from 11 to 12, which you're watching right now. But I knew when I built the podcast, said that I would want Ruth Ann to come back on. And the reason being is because with the radio show, it's computer automated. And so we have to take commercial breaks, and the computer controls the program. On this program, my producer and I, we control the flow of the program, and we don't take commercials because we want to give as much information to our followers and listeners as possible. So I knew that you would be on the program, back on the program. And I have a sense that they're going to see you more often because you have a story to tell, and your story is not seasonal, nor is it cyclical, but your story is ongoing. So I could keep going on and on. I'm just excited, Ruth Ann, to have you on this program.
Well, I'm humbled and honored to be here in your new house, so to speak. But I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Ruth Ann, and I'm an alcoholic and addict, and I've been clean and sober for over 28 years. My sobriety date is March 1 of 1996. And I wanted to share that because September is National Recovery Month. And we, across the country, we share our experience, strength, and hope so others can live and survive and get into recovery. And they know that recovery is possible. So it's National Recovery Month, too.
When people look at you, and thank you for sharing that, when people look at you, they probably make assumptions. Oh, she's never struggled a day in her life. She's all fixed up. She's a beautiful lady. She's on many platforms. She's never struggled in life. And so, but you're one of the most passionate, engaging person that I know. You make everybody feel like they have incredible value, Ruth Ann. And I'm not so sure that you really, I'm not so sure that you really recognize how you make people feel. You make people feel like they have worth. Where did this passion of life come from?
Wow. When you're doing what God's called you to do and serve, every step of my recovery journey has been what God has wanted me to do. And I shared with someone last week we were talking about trials and tribulations and things that happen to you in your life. What you see on the outside is not what's on the inside. Mm-hmm. And you don't know if your next door neighbor is struggling, and it could be the person beside you. And I, my life forever changed when I was brutally attacked at a gas station in Northwest Jackson off of Watkins Boulevard. And I have never doubted God's presence in my life because he set in motion what he wanted me to do, what he called me to do, and that was serve. And if I had to go through some pain to get to the other side, it was well worth it.
Wow. So I've always said that God gives each of us defining moments. Sometimes he gives some of us multiple defining moments. Those defining moments I consider as crossroads, that he's really trying to get our attention. And so though you don't want to go through that horrific scene again, you attribute you going through that episode as your defining moment that really grasped your attention?
Right. Everybody has different defining moments. And I love how you call it a defining moment, because my mother would say, I've used up all of my 9 lives.
Wow.
And now I see, with you just speaking that way, those are actually defining moments in my life. You know, whether I've died in the ocean from a scuba diving accident, I fell off of a rock cliff in Colorado when I was doing Colorado Outward Bound. Each one of those events in my life have been a defining moment to get me where I am today. And you just don't give up, you know.
I've seen you in action, okay, fishing for someone who is intent on doing bodily harm to themselves and other people. I've seen you just dive in. For that person, and I'm just going to get right to it, for that person that's watching, or feel like they're married or in a relationship with someone that they have an addiction, and the addiction is leading to a fatal outcome, right, an irreversible outcome, and they feel that it is hopeless. I want you, based upon your experience and based upon your profession, I want you to encourage them right now. What would you say to them right now?
Well, first of all, I would say that you're not alone. Everybody is going through trials and tribulations. The most important thing is to ask for help, whether it's from your counselor, your pastor, your minister, your therapist, your friend, your family member, because you're not alone. You know, our area, our community, our state is really in the middle of a tsunami, because we have substances that are available at gas stations, Teneptine and Kratom, that are taking down our kids. They're taking down our parents.
Wow.
And they're taking down our older adults, and they think it's okay because they can go to the gas station and get it. And when essentially it's a trap, because it's going to feed your addiction. And so many people, we call it cross addicted, and they don't even really know it. I cannot stand Kratom. I cannot stand what it's doing to our young people and adults for that matter. And so everybody is going through something. I want that person to reach out to help. We have many resources in the state of Mississippi to help those that are struggling. You know, whether I'm helping them or another provider or the community mental health centers that we have throughout our state, someone is always there to help you.
When you know, early in the program, when we introduced you and you introduced yourself to the audience, you gave your name.
Yes.
And then you said
I'm an alcoholic and an addict.
Why do you do that?
Because that's who I am. You know, I'm a person in long-term recovery, and if I don't share authentically who I am, how are they going to trust me anyway?
But there'd be those that would gasp and say, she is a high professional. I mean, she is in corporate America. She touches very affluent people, influential people, affluent people. Oh my goodness. Why would she say something like that?
Because everybody is worthy of getting the help that they need. I don't care if I've got to go. One time I had some friends here, other colleagues here, and I got a call that somebody needed help, and they were literally staying beside a dumpster. And so we went dumpster diving.
Oh my goodness.
And we went and helped them and got them the help that they need, because that's what you do. That's what you do. And I want you to think about it, and I want the audience to think about it. Because when you ride around Jackson, Pearl, Madison, and you see people that are on the corner.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, all these little cities that she named, they're in the suburbs of Jackson, Mississippi, because I know that we have.
Yeah, you have national view.
Yeah, and they're like, where is that?
Well, in Mississippi.
Yeah.
So, you know, you see people panhandling on the side of the road or on a corner of the interstate. Just realize that that is somebody's child.
Wow.
That is somebody's parent. And that 9 times out of 10, they have mental health challenges or they have addiction issues or both. But 9 times out of 10, that is a potential veteran.
Oh, my goodness.
A veteran.
Oh, my goodness.
That is struggling.
I appreciate you. You know what? I really, and it's just like you to slow it down and to pause. I appreciate you putting that, making that person a human being, because they are.
They are.
Because can you imagine the stares, the looks that they get, and even the verbal abuse? And what you just said, they're human beings.
And they have a story.
And they have a story. They're somebody's child. And it's very well possible that they are a veteran, that they served our country. And for whatever reason, they're out there.
Yep.
And someone told me, we had a psychiatrist or psychologist on the program several months ago, and they said, if you can't give them money, then at least give them a look.
Yeah.
Don't dismiss them as though they're not there. At least give them a look.
So I have these kits that I bought on Amazon. It's a plastic bracelet, that they can slip on, and it has some other helpful things. That says Jesus loves you. And so I roll down my window and give that to them.
Wow.
Because they need to know at that moment that they are worthy. They're worthy of God's love. They're worthy of God's help, and they're worthy of getting themselves the help that they need. Now, we're also aware of some of the rings that are going on in states that are not necessarily those individuals. They're hired people that are set up to go and panhandle and do that. So you just have to try and do your due diligence. When you're trying to help somebody, you're trying to help somebody. But do not ever put yourself in jeopardy or risk, because it can be dangerous.
Yeah. You have to be aware. Why don't you share for those that are looking, because I'm still pushing them past them looking at you and say, boy, she's just like, she's never had a care in the world, a problem in the world. Will you just share with people your story?
Yes.
Your journey?
So
your testimony?
Thank you. I grew up with an alcoholic mom that was not present in my life until probably I was 18, when I was old enough to put her in treatment. I grew up hunting and fishing, and I learned how to scuba dive when I was 11, because the dive shop would come out to our house and certify their divers. So I learned early how to scuba dive.
Oh, wow.
But it was also a way that my parents could farm me out to the dive shop on the weekends, so they didn't have to worry about me. So I went scuba diving almost every weekend as a child. But I also showed horses competitively because it was my outlet. Because I didn't have a parent. Obviously I had parents, my mother and my father.
Sure.
But they each had their challenges. And I can remember as a young child that when my mother drank wine, I didn't know it was wine, but I knew enough to go to the grocery store and buy Welch's grape juice when my dad and I would go to the grocery store and replace it, because I knew she became a Jekyll Hyde when she did drink.
Oh, wow.
And so, so I'm a survivor, and let me tell you really who gave me a lot of grace as a child were my teachers. My teachers, like my first grade teacher, Ann Caves, was just instrumental at making me understand that I was not alone and that she believed in me when nobody else would. And then my teachers over at the education center, like Jane Roper and Lynn Macon.
Oh, my goodness.
And people just impacted my life because they knew I had a parent at home that was struggling. And I reached out and asked for help as a child because I didn't know how to help my mother anymore. And when I graduated high school, my father was a contractor, so I grew up working in a construction company where I learned how to do payroll when I was 11, and I drove every piece of equipment. So I can shoot and I can drive equipment. So I'm pretty good at those things. But, my dad and I and my other family members made a decision to get my mom the help that she needed. And so my mom, when I was 18, went to treatment. And she went to treatment at the old doctor's hospital that is across from St. Dominic's now.
Okay.
Then it became the St. Dominic's North Campus. And so, but I always said I would never grow up and be an alcoholic. Because I didn't want that for my life. I did not want to grow up.
Because you saw the effects on your family, on yours.
The effects were horrific. And we were a blended family. And, so when I went off to school, I made sure that, I went to small colleges because I didn't want to have that drunk fest adventure, because I knew it would only be a matter of time till it got to me.
Right.
And then I met this highway patrolman who was living out on our family's farm. One day, I met him. I was driving to work in my other life. I call it my other life. And I saw this man struggling with a pony in the pasture, and I jumped the fence. I grabbed the pony.
Oh my goodness!
And I gave it back to him because I'm a redneck girl. Just
Yeah.
don't be fooled.
Yeah.
And I gave him back the pony, and I introduced myself, and I got back in the car. I called my mom. That's back when cell phones were.
He
this
was
big.
highway patrolman, this big, brawny, muscular guy. You
Yeah.
know, that's the image that
Yeah.
everybody has
Yeah.
of a Mississippi State
Yeah.
trooper.
Oh, yeah.
And then
They're-
this little young lady
Yeah.
jumps across the fence,
Mhm.
tames the horse, and gives
Yeah.
it back to him.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then I got back in my car, and I called. That's when cell phones were this big.
Yeah.
And I called my mother, and I said, I've met the man I'm going to marry one day. And I did not know anything about him. I knew that he was doing some stuff for my cousin. And then I figured out that that he got off in the morning, early shift. And so I started running, which I'd never run before, just so I could get a glimpse of him.
Yeah.
And then I started putting the trash out. My mother was like, "What is going on?"
Very strategic.
But it was very strategic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then about six months later, maybe.
Hey, my name is Kyle Reno, Senior Pastor at Cross Gates Baptist Church. Here's a defining moment from this last Sunday. Keep walking on. Verse 8 says, He has showered us in His kindness on us along with all wisdom and understanding. If you're a follower of Christ, I'm moving quick, I know, but man, receive these things. If you're a follower of Christ, He not only promises to get you into the kingdom, listen to me, He promises to give you the mind of Christ. You have spiritual insight. Do y'all know this? Listen to me. Unlike any other group of people on earth, I don't care if it's a social group, man, if it's a fraternity group, if it's a collegiate group, a team, man, a societal group that's created, nobody else, no other group of people like God's family actually has God's mind. Meaning we're the only group of people actually that know, based off God's word, by God's Spirit, in the counsel of other people, we actually know where this is all heading. We actually have wisdom for what to do when situations come upon us, that we're not living in the dark, we're a people of light. So listen, I don't care what your educational degree, if you're a follower of Christ, when you come into the room because you have the mind of Christ and you're developing in that and maturing it, you're one of the wisest people in the room. Hey, thank you for taking some time to listen to that defining moment from this last week. If you'd like to listen to the sermon in its entirety, you can go to crossgates.org, and we would love to have you visit with us any week on any of our Sunday experiences or our midweek opportunities. I'd encourage you this week to take some time and really think about what moments right now are defining your destination. God has more in store for you. Hope to see you soon.
Somebody was out there stealing something, and so my cousin suggested I call this man, and I called him, and he said, "I got this, click."
Wow.
And then when I got home that night from work, my mother had invited him for dinner, and so
Mom was in the background.
oh
doing
yeah, Mom,
a little
yeah.
matchmaking.
You know, and my mother honestly became my greatest hero when she got sober, and I became her advocate and she became my advocate. And, you know, my life just really was rocking along really good, you know, and then
Why did you start drinking?
because I was attacked at the gas station.
I got it.
And so when I was brutally attacked at the gas station, no one would help me. Nobody. And so finally I could get to the point, and I was newly married. I had only been married a short time.
Oh my goodness.
So that fast forward 4 years from that day. And then after I was attacked, we did not know back then about PTSD and night terrors and all those things that happen to people who have horrific big T traumas. And so after my attack, I went to the doctor. They started medicating me because I had headaches, night terrors, all those things. And so I would go to the doctor like 3 times a week.
Oh my goodness.
And on Friday was the big day because he'd get me through the weekend. And so I'm getting shot up with medication. And then he gave me a prescription. I can remember he gave me a prescription, and I think I've said this before on your show. I went to the pharmacy to get it filled because that was the most important thing. And I passed out in the pharmacy, and my husband had to send his men to come and get me. And that's embarrassing. It's shameful. But that was a pivotal moment. But I'm also, like you said, I was a professional, and I'm a very good negotiator,
right,
if you will. And so when my husband confronted me, my family confronted me, a mini intervention, if you will. That's when your family and friends come together and say, hey, we're concerned about you. Mm-hmm. We think you have a problem. So I went in for an evaluation, and I manipulated my way out of it because they told me at the end, Miss Rigby, you don't have any problems.
That's all you wanted to hear.
And that's all I needed to hear. So I could go out and hit it one more time. And that was the time that was pretty bad. And I added alcohol on top of prescription medication. And
to mask the pain, mm-hmm, of this brutal attack.
Mm-hmm. Because when you have night terrors and flashbacks, it's pretty evident. And I had flashbacks before when I had a medical trauma. So I had a really bad scuba diving accident where they had to bring me back to life 3 times, where I was put in the Navy decompression chamber at Pensacola for 72 hours, I think. And then I was put in ICU down there. So I honest to God, Larry, I am a true miracle.
Well, the enemy hates you.
Because I just don't
succumb. He saw
succumb.
into your future and see what you're doing now.
Yeah, I don't succumb to the enemy. I just don't. But, my steps to get here have just been extraordinary. But I also have to pause and listen, when I'm not sure what the next step looks like. And so I was able to go to treatment. With my husband's help, I went the hard way. And the hard way is when you have to go under a court commitment. And,
you're in denial.
And yes, I'm in denial.
Is that really, Ruth Ann, is that really the hardest step to recovery or to get help, is if you can just get past denial? Is that really the hardest
So for me, I can say everything that happened, the way it happened, was exactly what I needed.
Really?
Because I needed to be court ordered. I needed to go before
court order simply says you don't have a choice.
I don't have a choice. I went before a judge. My family knew all the people, and he asked me what I was doing there, and I said, I need you to sign those documents to save my life. Then I threw up all over his desk. Now, keep in mind, I was probably in a blackout and didn't remember any of this because I was in detox for almost 3 weeks. And when I came to, and I was at Whitfield.
Oh, my goodness.
I was at the Women's Center at Whitfield, the women's unit. And that was with 35 women. And I was there for probably a minimum of 6 months, but my life forever changed. Now, I grew up in the church. I grew up in First Baptist Jackson. And that was also my safe haven. Like, I was there on Wednesday nights. I was there on Sunday nights. I was involved in church. But I had never hit my knees and prayed. And when my counselor, Sandy, called me to her office because I was creating havoc, if you can imagine that. I was creating havoc when I was in treatment.
That is so hard to
get
imagine.
Out of there. Like, I was calling the Department of Health. These standards are horrible. I was an angry addict. And so when they called my husband. And he said, well, if she leaves, I'm divorcing her.
And he's a Mississippi State trooper.
Yes. And he meant it. And he
said, if you leave, I'm divorcing you.
Yes. And he was also the governor's security chief. And so when he didn't know what else to do, he partnered with the people at the Bureau of Narcotics because he asked for what he needed. And he says, I don't know what to do with this. And back then, I went to one pharmacy. So it was easy to figure out what I was taking. And they said, if you love her, get her some help. If not, she'll be dead and just go by her cemetery plot.
Wow.
And that's how severe my using was in a period of 6 months. So it's not like years and years and years.
So let me just put a comma there.
Months.
Let me put a comma there. Does it get progressively worse?
Yes.
It start out, if let me just coin it this way, in a very innocent way, but then it progressively gets worse.
The switch flipped. The switch flipped for me. The switch flipped. where I would do whatever it took to do whatever I needed to get whatever I needed in a period of 6 months.
To mask the pain.
To mask my trauma.
To mask your trauma.
Yeah, it's pain, but it's also trauma. And so
I just sent someone is saying, I know what you're going through. I know what you went through because I'm going through that right now.
Right.
What advice would you give them? What wisdom?
I would say it's very important to get to a therapist or a counselor.
Okay. All right. Now let me be angel's advocate. All right. So I'm talking for them.
Yes.
And they're saying, but I'm going to be, it's embarrassing, Ruth Ann. I have a high level position, and this is going to embarrass my family. This is going to affect a lot of people because people think highly of me. I'm either a leader in my church. I'm a leader in my firm. I'm a leader in my community. Ruth Ann, I don't know if I could do this.
Well, and then what my message to them is, if I can, you can. If I can, you can. The disease of addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. It does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you're red, yellow, purple, brown, black, or white. It's coming for you, and it comes at you with a vengeance. And you have to be willing to take that leap of faith to ask for what you need. And you said it yourself. Somebody is out there that is watching this, is struggling. What do? They can reach out to me. They can reach out to their community mental health center. They can reach out to the Center for Hope and Healing at Broadmoor. They can reach out to us at Capstone Wellness.
Broadmoor is the church that you attend.
Right.
So let me say this right now, because I don't know if they're going to hang with us the entire program. I hoped you would. But if people would like to reach out to you for your professional services, how can they do that?
They can reach out to me through the First Responders of Mississippi website.
Okay.
They can send me an email.
And we have that up on screen.
Yes, and it comes straight to me.
Okay.
And, that's one of the things, my life was forever changed when Sandy asked me to come to her office, because this is pivotal in my story. And she asked me, what did I bring to treatment? And I said, I brought my Bible, because I was a good little Southern girl. And she says, I want you to go upstairs and put your Bible under your bed. And when you get on your knees and pray, I want you to pray for acceptance and surrender. And when I did that step, when I took that step, my life forever changed, because I had acceptance that I had a problem, and I totally surrendered to God that He needed to help me.
Those two ingredients are necessary. Acceptance, admit I have a problem.
Right.
And the only way that I'm going to be able to overcome the problem is to surrender.
Right.
And I've seen you in action, by the way. And really, that's the only way healing and recovery can happen.
I don't give up on people.
You don't.
So Sandy instilled in me in many different things. And so when I got out of treatment, I made my recovery priority 1 for a year. So I worked a minimum wage job where I could focus on going to my 12-step meetings, my sponsor, and doing service work, being of service, helping others. And that was important to me. And then during that time, I also went back to school to become a counselor. I got into service. And I was volunteering at St. Dominic's Behavioral Health back in the day. And then that's just where God wanted me. And He kept me there for about almost 10 years. And I held every position probably on that unit. And it was the greatest experience. And, when I have people call me who want to go and be therapists and things like that, I said the greatest experience that you will get for your discipline is working in a hospital.
Wow. And it brings validation to your testimony. The very thing that was haunting you, now it's a part of your life's ministry.
Right.
That you're reaching back and saying to them, if I can, you can. And this is how it can be done.
And it's not that easy. I mean, because some people have been struggling for a long time. They're not willing.
This is not a cookie cutter.
No, it's not a cookie cutter, and it's not easy. But I don't give up on people. And a lot of families will call me and say, they've got to want it. Well, no, they don't, because I didn't want it at the beginning.
Whoa. That's a good point. Because let me make a confession. Because I have been guilty of saying they got to want it. Mm-hmm. And now that's an interesting point that you just said. You said, because I didn't want it. Being persistent, being consistent,
right,
and not giving up.
Right.
Is the key.
It's the key. Don't give up on your family members.
Or even don't give up on yourself. Some would say, well, I've gone to detox and it doesn't work. I've gone to treatment and it doesn't work. And I've heard you say, well, go again. Yep. Never stop.
Never stop.
Because it may be on this time, something will click.
Each time seeds were planted.
Each time seeds are planted.
Seeds of hope were planted in that individual. And they just haven't gotten all the seeds that they need.
So your husband said, if you don't get treatment, I'm going to divorce
yep.
you. You committed yourself. Let's pick up on that story. Let's pick up from there.
Right. And so I stayed in treatment. I completed treatment. Like I just mentioned, I went and volunteered my time at St. Dominic's, which that in turn turned into a full-time position or a calling. And I've been blessed to be able to always be of service in my community, first and foremost, no matter what I'm doing. And I worked for St. Dominic's Behavioral Health for quite some time. And then God called me to go to Pine Grove in Hattiesburg. And I did some...
Pine Grove is world renowned.
Yes, they are.
Because people from all athletes, movie stars from all over the world.
Cannot confirm or deny.
You can't, yeah. And this I say, and not you.
Yes.
Because of reasons, but it is known for being one of the best places in the country.
Right there in South Mississippi.
In South Mississippi. But I can say this, and I don't want to say what makes you feel uncomfortable, but you have worked. You have worked with people from all walks of life. Yes. But God gave you the training. Mm-hmm. He gave you the experience to work with people from all walks of life, whether they be sports, whether they be athletes, whether they be movie stars, whether they be politicians. God has given you the heart, not just the professionalism, right, and not just the academia part, but God has given you the heart. So when you work with people from all walks of life, what is the common denominator of why they're attracted to Ruth Ann?
Somebody told them to call me.
But why did they tell you? Because I know why I call you.
So why do you call me?
Because I trust you.
Okay. Well, then that's why they're calling me, because they trust me.
That's a good answer. You interviewed me on my program.
Well,
because I trust you. And I've seen you. I've called you on a Sunday. I've called you at night to say, I have a friend that's in trouble. And I trust you. And you have stopped whatever you've been doing. And you have dealt with it. And I've seen your success ratio as well. You jump in the foxhole.
I do jump down that foxhole.
You do.
And the rabbit hole.
You
and
do.
I go to battle. I will go to war for families who have loved ones that are struggling. And, when I left Pine Grove, I went to Capstone Wellness, located in Searcy, Arkansas, where family owned and operated. I had met Dr. Hickman while I was at Pine Grove at a marriage and family therapy conference in Memphis, Tennessee. And I was just like in awe of what he was doing with adolescents and young adult males. And his model, our Capstone model, was just unheard of. And I was like, people heal at Capstone. And so when I had a family member that needed help and I didn't know what to do, I picked up the phone and guess who I called?
Wow, Capstone.
I called Adrian, and he ran point on it. And because you know why? Because I trusted him.
Is there a situation that you cannot get involved because you're too close to it?
I just don't like to run point on my own family members.
Okay.
It's not healthy.
Yeah.
Because
you have to be tough sometimes.
Because it brings up so much emotion within your own family. So I'm blessed that I have friends that I call and run point on things.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't want to do it. And that's, I mean, like if you're a provider, if you're a therapist or a minister or anybody, you don't want to run point within your own family. You need someone that can help you run point. And so when I met him, I was just in awe. One of the things that we do at Capstone is our canine companion therapy. And I'm a dog person. I'm a dog person.
So am I.
And when I found out that each young man that goes to treatment at Capstone gets an AKC registered Labrador Retriever puppy upon admission that will grow with them in their recovery.
Oh my goodness.
While they're on campus, and then it discharges, it becomes their recovery companion. And if you have allergies, we do Labradoodles.
Oh my goodness.
We at Capstone try to think of everything, but it's just a unique model, and our therapists only carry 2 clients at any given time. But what I've learned from Dr. Hickman is you have to get to the core root of what's going on internally before you can start to heal.
I heard this, and I'm sure you've repeated this even yourself in your lifetime, the cliche that says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. I've seen you spend time trying to get to know people, who they are and their background. And then you start giving, wisdom as to some direction.
And that's part of the miracle. That's part of the miracle that will happen if people are open to changing their life.
That's part of the miracle if they're willing to open themselves up to change it. I believe, Ruth Ann, that we're here providentially. God has a plan. We're not here accidentally. Incidentally, God has a plan and purpose for every living being. You're in the space. You're in your skin. You're in this time frame because God has a plan for you.
Right.
But the enemy will work ferociously against you to circumvent God's plan for your life. And it's obvious what the enemy tried to do. He through this brutal attack, he tried to snuff you out, kill you, because that's been how many years ago?
29. Almost 29 years.
And the lives and the people that you have touched in a positive way, the enemy saw that.
It's amazing because, my husband was a state trooper, and he's a retired lieutenant colonel from the Highway Patrol. And he really didn't understand what I did until I retired. He retired, not me. I've got a long way to go.
Right.
But when he retired and he started meeting families with me, and that we saw he saw a huge need along with some other people to help first responders. And when he gets into action, you've never seen anything like it.
Well, I got to tell you what, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Joey. He's a gentle giant, nice guy, but past that nice guy, it's like don't mess with him.
He has a gift.
Don't poke the bear.
He has a gift, and he has a team of off-duty law enforcement officers and first responders that go and help other first responders when they need it. And what I was saying is we and a couple of other people saw a need to help first responders. And so that's really how First Responders of Mississippi was created.
Yeah.
Out of a huge need that we saw, because I was already helping first responders from a mental health standpoint and an addiction standpoint and a wellness standpoint. But it went to DEFCON 1 when we had several things happen in the state of Mississippi, and we just weren't going to sit on the sidelines and not see our first responders get help.
I was going to ask you that. How did not Capstone, but how did First Responders of Mississippi get started? Because you're very, very passionate about that. first responders, whether they're police officers or firefighters or
dispatchers,
dispatchers, paramedics,
flight teams.
They help other people in distressed times.
Yes.
But who helps them?
Right.
They pack up and they go home, but they still carry all of that weight with them
every day.
Every day.
And we celebrated the 20th anniversary of Katrina last week.
That's right.
And so my husband was on the coast. He was deployed
during Katrina.
Oh yes, during Katrina.
He was in the eye of the storm.
He was in the eye of the storm. Honest to God. And I was at St. Dominic's working, and you always ask, where were you when? And I went home where looked like a tsunami had hit, because even in central part of Mississippi, we had over 100 mile an hour winds.
Oh, I know.
And so, through that process with him, I saw what he had to do to get through it, because that's a lot of trauma that happened during Katrina. A lot of trauma.
A lot of pent up emotions.
A lot of people
anxiety.
died. A lot of people died. They had to put the bodies in refrigerator trucks. So.
And even though he's trained, how can you be trained for massive destruction like that?
And so I did not share any pictures about Katrina last week on my social media platforms, because I don't want to re-traumatize somebody that was there, that hadn't done their work, has not had therapeutic interventions, who has not done work with a therapist for trauma and things of that nature. And so first responders are hard to help, first and foremost, because I'm married to one.
Because
they are on 24/7.
They can't let their guards down.
They can't let their guards down, because something will happen if they don't. And so we had recognized that that's one of the challenges helping first responders. And so we were able to initiate some things to get the ball rolling, if you will. And so we started First Responders of Mississippi probably 2017, maybe, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't, about 8 or 9 years ago.
Right.
And we created it to offer assistance, wellness, and hope. And it's not just about trauma. It's not just about mental health challenges. It's not just about medical issues. It's about the whole responder and their families. And so that's why we help first responders, their families, and agencies in their greatest time of need.
So, how can a first responder benefit specifically from your organization, First Responders of Mississippi?
So one of the things that we've been we have heard the call, if you will. Mm-hmm. We have heard the call for assistance for creating wellness programs within agencies. And we have some people who have donated their time and their passion to help first responders to be able to create a true first responder wellness program. And that's mind, body, spirit. But it's also, just think about this, first responders work 2 and 3 jobs. My husband was working 2 and 3 jobs when I met him. And so if you lose the income from one, maybe because you were injured
sure.
when you're working, you're losing income. And so we have just been able, because of my contacts and other people's contacts throughout the country, we've been able to access care for many different reasons. Not that we can't access care in Mississippi, because we can, but sometimes people need to go out of state.
Do you find through your research and you being in the profession that being a first responder, a person in that industry, in that area, in that profession, they're more likely to be addicted to something, whether it is alcohol, drugs, or
workout? I said it. Workout.
It's interesting that you would say that, because someone told me several months ago that, man, when you see like troopers or police officers or first responders in gyms,
they're hitting it hard.
Yeah, man, they're hitting it hard. They're trying to get rid of all of that anxiety.
Yeah.
And even build self-esteem within themselves
Right.
because they've been beat down and battered by all of the trauma that they've had to deal
Well, I
with.
think everybody's different. Every family is different. Every family is struggling in a different way, and it's just how to access care when they need it. And that's one of the things that we can do at First Responders of Mississippi. We can help you, whatever season of life you're in, let us be your partner for healing because we can help get you to those providers.
How can people get in contact? Of course, we have more information on the screen, but how can people get in contact with First Responders of Mississippi?
Well, just go to our website, firstrespondersofmississippi.com. But, I don't know how much time we have left, but I do want to talk about First Responder Family Appreciation Day.
I do. I want to talk about that. In fact, that was going to be my next.
See,
I'm gonna bring you on to produce the program for me because actually that was going to be the next because you have an
And
incredible.
you have no notes. I have notes.
Yeah, well, I do a little research prior to the program,
Oh.
and then I know your heart, and then I know you. But let's talk about this event that's coming up.
Yeah, we have several events kicking off. We're actually kicking off Wednesday, today,
Okay,
because this show is on Wednesday.
that's right.
So,
Pam, you're very good. I mean, Ruth Ann, you're very good at this.
I don't know about that, but we're having a press conference at 10 a.m.
In a few minutes.
Yes, in a few minutes. I better get there
That's
quick.
right. That's right.
At Watkins Construction and Roofing.
Yes.
Kicking off our First Responder Family Appreciation Day that is going to be October the 19th at Mosley Meadows up in Canton, Mississippi. And this is a free event for first responders and their families. And we have only done a soft push, Larry. We have already 200 families registered.
Wow.
And now we're getting ready to hit it hard because
Now that's significant.
So let me tell you what Watkins Construction and Roofing is doing. For the month of September, we will be taking applications through the First Responders of Mississippi website for a first responders family that needs a roof. And Watkins Construction and Roofing is going to put a roof on that first responder family's house.
Oh, that is significant.
That's huge.
Okay, repeat that one more time. I want everybody to hear this.
Watkins Construction and Roofing for the month of
And this is in the state of Mississippi,
yes,
ladies
in
and
the
gentlemen.
state of Mississippi. For the month of September, we will be taking applications for those first responders who need a new roof. And it's for Hines, Madison, Rankin, Warren, Capaya, and Jackson. Yeah, I think I said that. So it's for certain counties, central part of Mississippi.
Wow.
And for that
Well,
first
that's
responder,
significant.
but they have to do some work.
Sure.
They have to complete the application. And then it will go to a committee.
Complete the application.
Yes, complete the application. And you may be the person who gets the roof
What a blessing.
because there are first responders out there that need a roof.
They are right
Because
now.
we've had them contact us several years ago, and we just did not have the bandwidth to do that because we're a small nonprofit. We're a mighty nonprofit, but we have the
I
first.
love the way you said that. We're
Yeah.
small, but we're mighty now.
We're-
Yeah, because I see some of the board members that you have on the board.
Yes.
And these people are very busy, but they're committed.
But we were talking about this several months ago about really creating an event for first responders and their families, a free event where they could come and create memories. And so we partnered obviously with our church, Broadmoor Baptist Church, because who knows how to put on large events for kids
That's right.
than a church.
That's right.
Because I don't.
And Broadmoor does it well
And
with
and
Wow
so,
Week.
And then we went and had a meeting with the Mosley family, with Benton and Kate.
Yes.
And their family.
Yes.
For Mosley Meadows. And so this.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
This is how this First Responder Family Appreciation Day was really born from First Responders of Mississippi, Broadmoor, Mosley Meadows, Watkins Construction and Roofing, and Key Constructors. Those are our title sponsors
Yes.
who are really trying to do the heavy lifting, but we still need sponsors.
I was going to say, is it too late for
we still need
others?
we still need sponsors.
So if a company is out there, if families are out there,
Yeah.
and they'd like to support the event, how can they
They just go to our website, and I will tell you, we're launching a new website today.
Okay.
A
A lot of great things are happening on today, on Wednesday. That's right.
So, and so there will be ways that you can do that, and certainly they can follow our social media platforms. And then the other thing that First Responders of Mississippi does is we do the annual holiday networking luncheon and toy drive.
Oh my goodness.
And that's going to be on Tuesday, December the 2nd at Broadmoor Baptist Church. And we bring like 550 providers from all over the state come, where we come together, we have a great meal, and we honor our own.
Oh, wow.
We honor people that are champions in recovery. We honor difference makers. We honor first responders of the year, and we honor community organizations that have made a difference. And so it's just a wonderful opportunity.
You know what? And I find myself doing it more, particularly since I've met you, is more of a conscious effort. It's more of an intentional effort. But when I see first responders, I make it my business, Ruth Ann, to go up and thank them. If they're at the cash register buying a Coke or coffee, I get in line and I buy it for them. If I see them in line to buy their lunch or dinner, I buy it for them. It's just a way to say thank you, because I know that you're putting yourself in harm's way. I know you have a family, and yes, you're in that profession as a firefighter, as a law enforcement officer, nurse, whomever. And, you're taking confidence that when you leave every day that you're going to come back home. And your family's taking confidence that when you leave, they want their daddy and their mama, they want their sister, their aunt, to come back home.
Right.
And they're serving and protecting. They're just not protecting, but they're serving. They're just not serving, but they're protecting.
And that's one of the reasons first responders and their families are the recipients of toys for the toy drive.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's one of the arms. And then we also have a community arm. Excuse me.
Because you know what, Ruth Ann? The reality is these first responders, they're choosing the profession. They're not going to get rich in these professions.
No, they're doing it because they've been called to. It's a passion. And just think about it. It's also a legacy, because we have those families, those first responder families, that I call them legacy heroes, because their dad was one or their grandpa was one. Just hearing the history of first responders and how they got there is pretty extraordinary.
So is there still room for first responders to sign up for the appreciation?
Yes. So their registration is free. So they just can go to our website and register there, or go to, just type in First Responder Family Appreciation Day, and it'll bring it up on Eventbrite.
And it's a free event for them.
It's free. Food and fellowship. You can't get any better than that. And let's talk about a pumpkin patch. They leave with a pumpkin. And we have a petting zoo. We have all kinds of different we have pig races. We are doing other activities that the wonderful children's team at Broadmoor is helping us come up with, because I don't have kids, so it's hard for me to come up with those ideas.
I got it, but you know what? I see your eyes light up when you're sharing this information.
I'm really excited about it.
But it's something deeper than that. It's more than an event. I can see it in your eyes, Ruth Ann. It's more than an event. Where's this burst of passion and effervescence coming from?
We want them to come out and have fun.
Why?
Because they deserve it.
I see you getting a little emotional too.
I am.
Why?
Because we have worked very hard to create something very special for them. And I don't want them to miss it. I don't want their kids to miss it. I don't want their grandparents to miss it. They can just come and have a family reunion at the pumpkin patch, because this is something that's important. And it's no football game
on that day, so there's no excuse.
Gonna interfere with it. And we worked hard to work around that.
It's the genesis of the passion that I see you walking around with every day. Is it a celebratory kind of passion that the Lord has gotten me over a major hurdle in life? And I want everybody to celebrate each day as a gift of life?
Well, there's that, and I just want people to be strong and courageous, because everybody's going through something right now, Larry. Everybody is. And if you have a family member struggling, you can call us, you can call Capstone. We're here to help and serve. I don't want anybody to have to navigate something by themselves.
That seems to be the common theme wherever I see you in the marketplace. You've always said in your presentation, you don't have to go through this alone.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
There's help. And the hardest step, though it is a necessary step, may be the first step.
Right.
You've got to reach out.
But families also have to hold a boundary. Sometimes it's hard to hold boundaries.
Now, what does that mean?
That means my husband set a boundary with me. If I left treatment, it was over. And that's a hard boundary. So we try to empower families through different
But you know what you did?
organizations.
But you know what you did? You concurred. He set a boundary and you said,
I
okay.
followed.
And you followed.
Because I knew he meant what he said, and he said what he meant.
And so tough love. Tough love is oftentimes the best love, isn't it?
Yes. And I'm telling you, if I can get clean and sober and I can give back to my community and work for a Christian organization, I'm living my best life. And that's helping those who are struggling.
So what would be, again, we only have about 2 minutes left. What would be your words of encouragement, either for someone that's struggling right now with an addiction, or a family member that has someone that they love that's struggling and they just don't know what to do?
If they don't know what to do, they need to reach. And like you, when you
If
did,
they don't know what to do, they need to reach.
And so you mentioned those organizations that I have been very much a part of for a long period of time. And they can reach out to the Center for Hope and Healing. They can reach out to Capstone Wellness. They can reach out to First Responders of Mississippi. They can reach out to the NCAD, the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependency. And I just want to give a shout out to them because I served on their board for over 20 years.
Wow.
Jeff Good is being honored at their event next week on 9/11.
I know Jeff.
And he is very worthy of this award. I encourage you to contact NCAD, get tickets, go out and support this event, because that's what September is, National Recovery Month, and we have to honor those that have done so much in our community to make a difference.
As yourself. So let me say this, and don't say anything, because you'll push back on it. So we honor you because you take deep dives often to help people that you don't even know. But because you have something in common, and that commonality is that you're children of God, then you go deep scuba diving. I've seen you in action. I've heard you. You're a household name in the metropolitan area in the state of Mississippi. You're authentic. Your work is authentic. Your commitment is authentic. Your commitment is truthful, caring. You're very passionate about what you do. And that's why, without hesitation, I give you a call. So thank you for picking up the phone and answering my phone call. Is never from me.
Well, I'm never not going to take your phone call.
Yeah,
Larry.
but I know how busy you are, and I know people pull on you a lot, and you're a human being, so you get exhausted, you get tired, and you need your rest. We can't wear you out, but thank you, because you are a treasure in this profession. You are a treasure in the state of Mississippi, and we appreciate you.
Here's what I want to say: trust God, clean house, and help others.
Trust God, clean house,
And help others.
and help others. All right, in the last 1 minute we have, give us a word again about the appreciation that's coming up.
First Responder Family Appreciation Day is going to be held October the 19th from 4 to 7 at
Okay.
Mosley Meadows. We
Okay.
just need first responders to register, their entire family. So bring out your mom and dad. Everybody's welcome.
Great. And if they'd like to get more information, if people need help,
They
again,
can go to our website, firstrespondersofmississippi.com, or reach out to the community mental health centers in your town. And then we're really grateful for Watkins Construction and Roofing
that is outstanding.
and Key constructors, as well as Mosley Meadows and Broadmoor Baptist Church. We're
all
grateful.
of you that are supporting this.
Huge community partner lift.
Yeah, man, that is outstanding. And for those who would like to register for the event, the first responders, they would like to register, or
They can do that through our Facebook page or go to our website.
And then for sponsors that are still out there, corporate community, you're still out there.
Yes,
What a-
please.
what a
We need
worthy-
a few more sponsors, and we'd love to raise about $15,000.
It can be done.
Because if we're hosting 500, we have to take care of them the right way.
It can be done. Let's get on the ball.
So come sponsor at First Responders Mississippi.
First Responders Mississippi. All right, in 30 seconds, I'm going to give you the last 30 seconds again. I want you to encourage the people out there in terms of what they should do.
All right, here's your encouragement. Pick up the phone, call somebody you trust, and tell them you're struggling and reach, and tell them to get you to the right person.
That is powerful. Ruth Ann Rigby, ladies and gentlemen, is a treasure. She's a great friend. She's the kind of person that you want to walk alongside, but she's only one human being. But she has given you a lot of information. This I would say to you, you don't have to struggle alone. But my takeaway today is reach out and have someone to reach in to walk with you. Thank you for joining us on Defining Moments, and we'll see you next time.